What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video game review. We're going to be reviewing the Marvel vs. Capcom series, not just one game of the series, but the entire series, just in time for the upcoming compilation game, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, Arcade Classics, coming soon. Marvel vs. Capcom. This is one of the fighting game series that I grew up playing, other than Super Smash Brothers. Takes me back to those good old days playing Marvel vs. Capcom. This game pretty much reminds me of Killer Instinct and Mortal Kombat, except instead of focusing on single combat, they do like a tag team battle. So let's go ahead and review this series right now. The Marvel vs. Capcom series is a crossover fighting game published and developed by Capcom. It features characters from their own video game franchises and comic book characters published by Marvel Comics. Instead of focusing on single battle, the game incorporated tag team battles. Players form teams of 2 or 3 characters and one character, while one character is fighting at a time, in an attempt to damage and knock out their opponents. Players can switch out characters from time to time to replenish their health and prolong their ability to fight. It all started with X-Men vs. Street Fighter in 1996, and it was a huge success. Then in 1997, we had Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. Since 1998, they decided to rename the series Marvel vs. Capcom. In 1998, we had Marvel vs. Capcom, Clash of Superheroes. Then in the year 2000, we had my favorite game of the series, and the best in my opinion, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, New Age of Heroes. Due to the fact that Capcom lost the rights to Marvel, or something like that, we would not get another Marvel vs. Capcom game until a decade later in 2011. Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Fate of Two Worlds. Matter of fact, I have the game right here for the PS3, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Fate of Two Worlds, which was released in February 2011. Months after the original was released, we get an updated edition of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I prefer Ultimate over the original. Why Ultimate? Because I believe that one's better. In 2012, we get a compilation of Marvel vs. Capcom Origins, which is a compilation of Marvel Superheroes and Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes. And then, oh my God, we get the god-awful ass game from 2017, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. The first game in the Marvel vs. Capcom series for the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. I'm not gonna spend too much time talking about how god-awful that game was. One thing I did not like about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, they had no X-Men characters, and I didn't like how they really messed up Spider-Man. If you're new to my video game reviews, Spider-Man has been my favorite Marvel character for 30 years, since Spider-Man, the animated series that used to air on Fox Kids. In Marvel vs. Capcom 3, when Spider-Man does his Maximum Spider, he does it and he says it like a cool cat. But in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, I don't know. I got no comment about them messing up Spider-Man in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Do not play that game because it is the waste of your time. And now we have an upcoming compilation of Marvel vs. Capcom called Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics. It's going to feature these games: X-Men Atom, Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men versus Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter, and the first two games in the Marvel vs. Capcom series, Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 New Age of Heroes. That compilation game is coming out sometime this year for the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation 4. I'm glad the Marvel vs. Capcom series is doing extremely well. I can't find the cheapest price of Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 New Age of Heroes. Every time I look them on eBay, the prices of those two games are so damn expensive. Like $62 or something like that. I cannot find a cheaper price of those two games. At least I have Marvel vs. Capcom 3. But I would also like to play Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 since I think that one is better than the original. So for those of you that has a Switch and a PlayStation 4, be on the lookout for Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, because I know you guys are dying to play that game once it comes out. Marvel vs. Capcom, the entire series, gets an official 10 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think about the Marvel vs. Capcom series, looking back on it nearly 30 years later. And what do you think about the upcoming Marvel vs. Capcom compilation game coming out for the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch? The next series I'm going to review is the Killer Instinct series. I was planning to review Killer Instinct in October, since October is the 30th anniversary month of Killer Instinct. But I'm reviewing the Tony Hawk's Underground series in October. So next month, coming Friday, September 20th, my review of the Killer Instinct series. Thank you guys for watching. Have yourselves a good night. Take care. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. No more talk.